I'm obsessed with Shirley's broken vibe. I learned sign language just to chase her. I put in the effort to say cheesy stuff. But then I saw her at an art exhibit, casually smirking. Even being deaf and mute, she snagged Henry. If Billy comes back, she'll definitely go for me. Oh, she's faking it, that's even more interesting. So I pretended not to know, covered her eyes, turned, and kissed her friend. So she could hear. I found Shirley on the street. She was drunk, totally wasted. No will to live on her face at all. She was my ideal type. Without hesitating, I took her home. What I didn't expect was that she couldn't hear or speak. Her quiet, expressive eyes looked like they walked right out of a painting. I was deeply obsessed with her broken vibe. To pursue her, I practiced sign language hard. The first time I signed "I like you," her ears turned bright red. Slowly, she signed back, "Thank you." Later, I learned some cheesy lines. Her eyelashes trembled. I treated her as my most beautiful muse. I painted one picture after another for her. At an exhibit dedicated to her, I showed up quietly, wanting to surprise her. But there she was, standing among her friends, casually smirking. Even deaf and mute, she snagged Henry. If Billy comes back, she'll definitely go for me. Took a while for me to link Shirley's voice to the person. Laughter erupted. Someone said, "Shirley, you're really deep. Acting as a deaf mute for 3 years for your first love could get you an Oscar nomination." Henry would never imagine he's just a practice target for Shirley's love chase. Deaf and mute are faked. Broken is a lie. A room full of art suddenly crumbled. I stepped back, contacted the staff to take down the exhibit. A sudden, thrilling idea sparked in my mind. There were many at the exhibit and they were all asked to leave. Shirley wouldn't leave, though. After all, this was an exhibit I spent 3 years preparing just for her. She stood stubbornly in front of a painting, the faint outline of a woman swaying on the sea, vulnerable and fragile. It was the first piece I drew when we met. She stopped the staff from taking it down. Signing, "Why take it down?" Unfortunately, the staff didn't understand her. Just relayed my orders. Henry said to take it down, then carefully began to move the painting. I appeared just in time. Shirley looked at me, upset, like a poor little kitten. I signed, "Sorry, the exhibit can't go on. There's a problem." Disappointment flashed in her eyes. "All right, can we do it another time?" Before I could answer, the staff interrupted. "Henry, what should we do with these pieces?" I smirked, "Burn them." As soon as I said that, Shirley's hand flinched. But everything soon returned to normal. The staff knew me well. I hate flawed pieces. Burning them shows respect for art. Shirley's brow furrowed a bit. I sighed, lifted my hand to smooth it out. Signing, "Let's go. I'll take you home." She forced a smile and raised her hand. "Okay." A stranger opened the door, wearing a black tank top and shorts. She froze for a second, then gave Shirley a playful look. I ignored it, politely asked, "May I ask who you are?" She glanced away, lazily put a hand in her pocket. "I'm a friend, just staying for a couple of days. Better head up now." The woman disappeared up the stairs, leaving Shirley and me. Just as I was about to leave, she grabbed my wrist. Shirley's eyes were slightly red, stubborn and innocent. Looked so wronged. Saddened air surrounded her. That alluring broken vibe was back. But it wasn't enough. I lightly kissed her lips. Signed, "I have to go. Something came up." Her brow furrowed deeper. At that moment, my phone rang. It was a girl a friend recently introduced. Sweet voice, "Are you free today?" I squinted, knowing she could hear, and felt more pleased. "Just consoled my little mute. Heading to see you now." 3, 2, 1. My balance suddenly disappeared. Shirley grabbed my wrist, pulled me inside, pushed me onto the couch. She kissed me angrily, fingers pressing hard on my collarbone. Sent shivers all over. Mad? I just called her my little mute. Burned the paintings. She tricked me for 3 years, though. I slightly tipped my head back, a bit mesmerized by her expression. Suddenly, a screech broke in. Before I could react, a black shadow leaped between us. A black cat. Shirley jumped up. I looked up, clothes and hair a mess. The woman who should have been upstairs now looked at me, half smirking. Sorry, didn't keep an eye on the cat. Jerry, come here. The black cat obediently jumped off me. She apologized, but there wasn't a hint of remorse on her face. She hugged the cat and went upstairs. The intimate vibe was gone. Shirley's brow furrowed tightly, signing. I just wanted to keep you. She was explaining her impulsive actions, afraid I'd suspect. I smiled, but I really have to go. I've got something to do. She didn't stop me this time, just looked down, her face turning cold. The new girl's name is Bella, well-behaved and obedient. As soon as she stepped into the studio, she took off her coat, just wearing a tight tank top showing a bell choker. I raised an eyebrow. Who taught you that? Her ears turned red. She lowered her head. Tom. Of course. Tom's been trying to cure my obsession with broken vibes, tossing me different models in small amounts. All sorts of types. Bella pursed her lips, fingers instinctively tying together. I chuckled. He lied to you. I don't paint those. She looked confused for a second, then quickly picked up her coat to put it back on. Sorry. I mean, you don't have to keep undressing. She stopped, understood what I meant, obediently sat back. I spent an afternoon messily painting a piece I was completely unsatisfied with. Before Bella left, she asked, "Can I come again next time?" Eyes full of anticipation. I blinked. That's up to Tom. I follow his lead. It's not my job to be the bad guy. After she left, I casually snapped a photo of the painting, then trashed it. As for the photo, of course, I posted it online for Shirley to see. But she didn't reach out to me, just quietly liked it. The next day, I saw on her friend's social media that my first love was back. The friend, always intrigued by drama, asked if I was going. Of course, I said yes, who wouldn't want to check that out? But I didn't expect to see so many familiar faces there. It was at Shirley's place again. Opening the door was that same woman. This time, she was dressed more neatly. She raised an eyebrow and said, "If you'd waited any longer, your girlfriend would have been taken." "Shirley isn't my girlfriend, I'm chasing her," I replied. She frowned as if verifying if she'd heard me right. "You guys kiss but aren't together?" I was taken aback. Just then, someone noticed us at the door. "Henry's here." "Who invited him?" "This is exciting." I looked up and saw the man sitting in the center. He was graceful and sophisticated. It was none other than my elder brother Billy, who is both deaf and mute. He also looked at me with his usual calm, emotionless expression. I greeted everyone with a smile. Bella stood up immediately. "Long time no see." I smirked. Didn't we just see each other yesterday? Faces around us showed different reactions. Shirley pretended to be oblivious. She gestured. "Why are you here?" I replied, "I missed you." Shirley instinctively glanced at Billy. The elegant man's face showed no change. "So," she asked again, "how do you know Bella? Was it her you drew yesterday?" Shirley frowned. "During the 3 years I've known her, I've drawn no one else. Not even when Tom insisted." The atmosphere grew eerily silent. After a while, the crowd started buzzing again. They involuntarily brought up Billy's long-term relationship with Shirley. My brother was brought back to our family when I was 15. It's a small world, indeed. He was Shirley's first love, the one she couldn't have. To celebrate his return, Shirley made a cake herself. Her cake-making skills surpass her painting by far. There were no crooked lines, no random colors. I admired it, until I saw the name Billy written in chocolate on top. What devotion! Billy smiled, gently brushed her hair, and kissed her forehead. The crowd cheered. Shirley blushed deeply, looking unsure, like a young girl in love for the first time. Many mocking glances were cast my way. Billy, with a slight smile, handed me a piece of cake. I noticed those 2 words in the center and suddenly lost my appetite. Amid the excitement, Bella switched seats and sat next to me. Whispering, "Tom said we could continue." "I'm ready whenever." "How about you?" I paused. Her bright eyes were fixed on me. Across from us, Shirley gazed at Billy passionately. She gestured boldly. "He's after me." "We're not close. I only like you." I looked at Bella and suddenly smiled. "How about right now?" Even if Shirley claimed we weren't familiar, The second floor of her house had a studio set aside just for me. We planned to meet at 10. I went upstairs early. At 9:55, there was a knock. It was Shirley, who had been cozy with Billy half an hour ago. Her eyes were dark, intensely fixed on me, and her mouth a tight line, looking like a wife catching her husband in the act. She gestured, "What are you doing here?" "Painting." "Who? Bella? Like the drawing you posted? Wearing so little?" She got more agitated by the second. I nodded casually. The next moment, I was pushed against the door. She grabbed my chin and kissed me aggressively. It was an unrelenting, invasive kiss, inch by inch. Seizing the moment, I pushed her away by the shoulder, feeling slightly annoyed. Shirley staggered back, a step, once wild-eyed, now teary and pale. She stared at me, as helpless as the rainy night we first met. She signed, "Draw me. Don't draw others. Please." I raised an eyebrow. "Aren't we strangers?" Her lashes fluttered. "That's only because you draw others. I only want you to draw me." The room was silent. That feeling of helplessness returned but was still insufficient. I thought for a moment, then gestured. "All right, sit tight. But this time it's different. You need to keep your eyes covered. And don't you dare remove the scarf." I took a golden scarf and gently wrapped it around her eyes, round after round, until she was enveloped in darkness. Right at 10 o'clock, I opened the door. But it wasn't Bella standing outside. I was stunned. The person slipped in. "Bella's drunk. I'm her sister. Draw me instead." If Bella, by my criteria, was a 5, the woman before me, Nenah, was a 0. Nenah crossed her arms. Her slanted eyes glanced at Shirley, who sat across with a straight back. She leaned towards my ear, speaking slowly. "Whatever you draw, she can't hear us anyway." Her tone was ambiguous. The warmth of her breath brushed my ear. My heart unexpectedly quickened. Her posture was casual, a bit arrogant, as if she was no saint. Lucky for her, I'm no saint either, and our ideas probably aligned. So be it. I smiled. The room was dim. I turned on a small lamp at the easel. 10:05. She slipped off her coat, leaving only a silk camisole, standing before me. "Go ahead." I picked up the brush, but I had no intention of painting. Shirley's posture shifted. How long could she endure? By 10:10, Nenah's eyes darkened. She grabbed the unruly brush, pulling me close, seeking my lips. I turned my head. "We're not together, but you're kissing me?" She paused and surprisingly stopped. I chuckled, lowered my head, brushing her cheek with my fingers. The instant our lips met, quick blink and we kissed. Shirley's fists clenched. By 10:15, the brush was in Nenah's hands. She hooked onto my collar and bit my collarbone hard. "Are you a dog?" Nenah laughed, sorry. A bit lighter, then it trailed upwards. Shirley's forehead veins bulged. 10:20. Nenah gripped my hand, and the pace quickened. Her slender neck arched, her voice hoarse, calling my name repeatedly. The word Henry slipped from her mouth, sounding especially alluring. Shirley couldn't take it anymore, pulling Nenah away. It's like he was completely drained, staring blankly. Henry, looking past Nenah, eyes unfocused. Nenah calmly adjusted her clothes, her expression hard to read. A miracle doctor cured his deafness and muteness. "Henry." Shirley kept calling my name, her voice dry. I stared at her, a bit stunned, my heart racing. She might have thought I was scared, but I was just amazed at how beautiful she looked in desperation. Finally, the brokenness I wanted showed up after so long. Shirley walked slowly toward me, her lashes quivering, her straight back bending. "Aren't you gonna draw me?" she asked, pretending not to notice. "Can you draw me again?" She gently brushed my hair, tidying the mess with care. Then, she carefully cleaned my hands. Nenah scoffed. "You pretended for so long. Couldn't hold it in anymore? What makes you think you deserve to be drawn by him?" The next second, Shirley's tight fist swung at Nenah's face. They started to fight, neither backing down. Art supplies scattered everywhere. I watched with interest until they both fell to the ground. Their pretty faces were bruised, blood at the corners of their lips, somehow even more beautiful. I squatted in front of Shirley, eyes shining. Now I'll draw you. Nenah's expression hardened as she suddenly stood, grabbing my wrist and pulling me up. Annoyed, I frowned. What are you doing? Her jaw was tight, looking serious. Do you like her that much? I softly replied. She looks too beautiful right now. I have to capture it. Nenah pressed her lips, her eyes cold. After a moment, she let go. Fine, draw her. She turned and left. The soft closing of the door startled me. Coming to my senses, it was just me and Shirley in the room. I picked up the scattered art supplies and was about to start drawing when the door opened again. Nenah walked in, holding a black cat, hands in her pockets. Her tone awkward. When you were drawing me, she was here. I have to be here while you draw her, too. I was about to reply, but she added, don't worry, I can pretend to be mute. So it was just us three and a cat, sitting in silence. The only sound was the pen gliding across the paper. By the time I finished, it was already noon. Somehow, Nenah had ended up sitting beside me. Just an arm's length away, I could hear her soft breaths. The cat was curled up in her lap, snoozing comfortably, while she watched me intently. Haven't you seen enough all night? I teased. She shook her head, paused, then said, draw me. Too? I looked her over from head to toe. Nah, not interested. Why? He doesn't like your type. Shirley interrupted, expertly packing up my art supplies beside me. Nenah rolled her eyes. Better keep quiet. He probably doesn't want to hear you right now. Shirley frowned, biting back words. A knock on the studio door, followed by someone walking in. Bella looked at me apologetically. Sorry, I was drunk last night. Then noticed the other women beside me. Shirley, why are you here? Nenah? Nenah quickly scooped up the cat and ushered Bella out. You were drunk last night. I came to check on you. I told you not to drink, and you insisted. I'm your sister. I wouldn't let anything happen to you. Didn't I keep an eye on you all night? Their voices faded as they left. Shirley silently resumed tidying up, neatly organizing all sorts of pens. I sighed, toss it. Whether this place gets trashed or remodeled, doesn't matter to me. She stopped. What do you mean? I don't need it anymore. What about me? She asked. Desperate, you don't want me either? Why? She hesitated, then laughed. Don't you know? Because I'm not deaf or mute. Shirley, you lied to me for 3 years. She froze, her face turning pale as she croaked. I'm sorry. I chuckled. It's all right, just my bad luck. 3 years of loving practice in exchange for a painting isn't too much, right? Holding her painting, I suggested, go find Billy, he seems to like you too. And if you see me, pretend you don't know me. Your voice makes me want to puke now. Her eyes went wide, shaking her head, fingertips nicked by her craft knife, oblivious to the blood dripping. She didn't speak, only gestured. I made a mistake. Her sign said, give me another chance, please. Henry, I love you. I can't be without you. If you don't want to hear me, I'll never speak again. Her gestures grew frantic, blood trailing on the ground. This was the first time I heard her confess love, even though we'd been so close. I gave her a cold look, something flickering in my mind. My eyes fluttered. I wiped at the imaginary tears, my voice breaking. Shirley, I'm truly scared. I stayed up learning sign language, memorizing sweet talk to make you happy. But it was all a joke. Did you forget? Today's my birthday. Thanks for the surprise. She froze, wanting to wipe my tears but didn't dare. Stood there, guilty and pained, her lips colorless. I wasted no more words, turning and masking any sadness from my face. Who wouldn't know how to act? Last night, Shirley probably hadn't planned anything, just came to see me. The living room was filled with people sprawled everywhere, couches included. Billy sat primly on the couch, looking much more worn than the night before, having stayed up all night. Seeing me, he gestured. Where is she? I replied, upstairs, go find her yourself. He nodded, got up, and I left without looking back. I didn't forget to challenge Tom on my way out. I told him I wouldn't draw Bella again. To my surprise, he was shocked over the phone. I swear I declined. Henry, none of these women are easy. especially her sister. Just wait. By evening, Tom showed up at my place with Nenah. To celebrate your birthday, he said, even though I was just waking from a nap, frowning at the two of them. Tom shrugged. Man, nothing I could do. She insisted on coming. Also, she paid a lot. He whispered the last part in my ear. Nenah looked innocent. You took such liberties last night. We're friends now, right? Can't I celebrate your birthday? I rolled my eyes. Stop pretending. You kissed me first. You made the first move. She chuckled. Quiet down. There are people around. Tom gritted his teeth. Fine. I'm leaving. Turns out, he left right after finishing his cake. Some urgent matter calling him away. Nenah insisted on having a couple of drinks with dinner and ended up tipsy. So I decided to take my leave too, but as soon as I stood up, I fell back down beside the sofa. She was flushed, her eyes glazed, and she looked at me helplessly. What was I supposed to do? I walked over, looked down at her, and nudged her waist. She suddenly grabbed my foot and pressed it against her chest, right on her heartbeat. I wanted to pull away but lost my balance and fell into her arms instead. Smirking, she asked, aren't you going to say thank you or apologize? I apologized, got up, and sat on the sofa. She naturally rested her head on my knee, her eyes half closed. I couldn't help but laugh. Not planning to leave? She sighed. Got kicked out by Shirley, nowhere to go. I offered to call Shirley to come and pick her up. Don't let her come. I'm too drunk to fight back, Nenah admitted, just as Shirley showed up. It was pouring rain, and she stood soaking wet at the door with a cake in hand. Happy birthday, Henry, she said softly. Thanks, I replied, about to shut the door. She stopped me, saying she had a gift and made a cake, asking to come inside because of the heavy rain. Before I could reply, Nenah shouted from inside, who's that? Shirley looked shocked as she saw Nenah lounging lazily. Bella know you're here? Shirley asked, trying to keep calm. Nenah raised an eyebrow. Does Billy know you're here? It was getting tense. I handed Shirley some clothes to change into. Grateful, she went to the bathroom. Nenah pulled me close, questioning if I was training a cat, referring to Shirley or maybe herself. Not answering, she bit my collarbone. Wildcat, I called her. Shirley returned to see me on the sofa, noticing the fresh mark on my neck. Nonchalantly, she introduced the cake she made. I cut her off, suggesting she take the cake and gift with her. Shirley faltered, then pointed to Nenah. Nenah looked up at me with a sly smile. She's too drunk to walk, I said coolly. Shirley looked disappointed but eventually chuckled hoarsely. All right then. She left with nothing, heading into the rain. I felt a thrill at the thought of Shirley, crying and regretting in the rain. It was a twisted pleasure. Nenah interrupted, leaning in to resume what we left off yesterday. The rain poured, the room felt hot. She bit my ear, telling me to focus. What attracts you to her? She asked, throwing me off. Instead of answering, I kissed her bruised lips, soothing them. But she turned away, confronting me about my emotions. Henry, are you punishing yourself? Or do you just like her brokenness? Each word was a reminder of how strange I was, as she noted my peculiar ways. Not showing emotion, my fingers curled slightly, and she suddenly pretended to cry. Red eyes? I can have those too, she teased, a tear slipping down her face. Surprised me, making me laugh. Don't act, I said as she kissed me. The room filled with intimacy. Days went by, with Nenah clinging to me until she suddenly had to leave. She offered to leave her cat Jerry with me, joking that I might forget her in a few days. I immediately refused. I don't like cats. What about the cat's owner? She asked. No, I stated. She sighed, disappointed. But as she closed the door, I softened and offered to watch the cat temporarily. Bella brought Jerry over, standing outside my door with the cat. He's naughty if he causes trouble. Let me know, she said, eyes innocently wide. The cat ignored her, nudging my leg to be picked up. In front of Bella's disbelief, I cradled Jerry, who looked pretty well behaved. Stupid cat, Bella muttered as Jerry bared his teeth at her, clearly preferring my company. Perhaps because of Nenah's lingering scent on me, he liked curling up in my lap. Every morning, I would wake up to a soft, warm kitten beside me. Nenah left you, I joked to Jerry, promising to keep him. Content, he closed his eyes. One morning, persistent knocking woke me. Holding Jerry, I found 3 people at the door, patient yet stern. Billy's parents, smiles uneasy, and the sign language began. Henry, how have you been these 3 years? Why are you here? I asked, not bothering with pleasantries. Their composure slipped. Billy's father shot back. Is this how you talk to your parents? His mother smiled cautiously, mentioning Billy's engagement, inviting me home to meet the fiancé. I coldly refused, as did Jerry. As if reminded, his mother coolly reminded me not to speak while Billy was around or keep loud pets. She glanced at Jerry, but I held him tighter. Billy stood silently, watching. I realized I didn't remember him from before I was 15. I only knew my elegant, poised mom would turn into a volatile person at home. Even hiding in my room wouldn't save me from her hitting and scolding. Dad was always distant, shooting me cold looks. He'd explain over and over, we wouldn't have had you if your brother hadn't disappeared. They treated me as a replacement for my brother, but never offered any love. When Billy came back, Mom stopped speaking and forbade any noise in the house. She'd slap at the slightest sound. Yet, she was a doting mother in front of my brother. In the room, she'd beat me until my cheeks swelled just because I refused sign language. The black cat I'd had for 8 years, she poisoned it. Its cold, limp body lay under my bed. I painted for 3 days and nights in that dim room. From then on, I loved the feeling of being broken. We were all mad. All of us. Billy's mom lifted her finger to her lips, signaling silence. Just behave. A second later, my door slammed shut without hesitation. Nenah came back and asked to meet at a tea house. When I saw the woman beside her, I was stunned, but I sat down, keeping my excitement in check. Hello, Wendy. She nodded, smiling warmly. Wendy is the top oil painter of our time, someone I deeply admire. She's 80 and lives abroad. I was amazed Nenah got her to come. Wendy slowly poured tea. As we locked eyes, she silently mouthed, I missed you. My heart pounded like a drum. I wasn't sure if it was because of Wendy or her. Nenah, you just landed and are already drinking tea, not for the tea, I suppose. The old lady glared at her and then turned to me. Henry, artists see the world differently. In the past, I seldom found vivid colors. I rarely painted life because I didn't know how to express it. But today, brightness seemed to creep in. We chatted until dusk, like a full body cleanse. Wendy touched her white hair, smiling with her eyes half closed. It's getting late, my apprentice is waiting at the door. As we walked her out, I froze momentarily when someone approached. Our eyes met. Christina smiled gently. Henry, long time no see. Long time no see, I whispered, as her gaze drifted to my side. Girlfriend? Almost. Nenah grinned, raising her hand first. Nenah. Christina, Henry's fiancée. Nenah fell silent. Wendy's lively gaze flitted among the 3 of us, but Christina soon led her away. Before leaving, she said, Come visit Grandma sometime. Leaving just Nenah and me in an uneasy silence. Why aren't you talking? Nenah's expression was cloudy. Have you ever seen the other woman speak loudly in front of the real deal? I grinned, leaning into her ear. Then let's save our conversations for whispers. She inched away. In broad daylight, that's improper. Oh, then I'm off. She frowned. Sneaking around is fine. I walked quickly. She followed step for step. So, Christina and you are quite close? She was losing it. The next day, I visited Grandma. Coincidentally, Billy's mom introduced Shirley to her. She hadn't spoken in a while. Her voice was raspy, full of awe. I sat next to Christina. Grandma, usually stern, finally smiled. You finally came around. Let me know next time so she can prepare your favorite dishes. I laughed. I love everything Auntie makes. Christina giggled. Auntie dreads you, you're such a picky eater. It was all peaceful, but Shirley looked shocked at me. Billy's mom noticed and said, Henry, this is Shirley, your future sister-in-law. She turned to me. Henry, This is your prospective sister-in-law, Shirley. She hesitated. Then she added, Christina and Henry are childhood betrothed. Maybe you could hold your engagement parties together. Christina looked at me tenderly. Up to Henry, of course. She was full of emotion. But I suddenly thought of Nenah. I lowered my gaze to avoid her eyes, lost in thought. Grandma soon went back to her room. While taking a breather in the garden, Shirley cornered me. She stepped closer. Henry, why didn't you say Billy's your brother? Why not mention the engagement? Are you playing with me? She bent slightly, her hair brushed against my clothing. I didn't dodge, just chuckled. What's the point? Did you take it seriously? I paused. Her eyes reddened. Don't leave me. I don't care about Nenah or Christina. You can have them all. As long as it's you. Her voice cracked. Shirley seemed shattered like never before. Yet I felt incredibly calm. Henry. I didn't know when Christina appeared behind us. She usually wore a gentle look, but now she seemed a bit cold. Grandma wants to talk to us, Christina said. She led me to a room on the second floor. As soon as we entered, the door clicked locked behind us. I don't have time for this. The room's dimly lit and filled with paintings. It's all me. Henry, I miss you a lot. She's behind me, keeping a respectful and restrained distance. I want to have an exhibition for you. Like what? She sighs like she doesn't want to admit it. Like the one you did for her. You're getting sicker. A room full of paintings is proof. She mumbles. We can get engaged first and do the exhibit later. Or we can set up the exhibit at the event. That way everyone will know how much I love you. I raise an eyebrow, you know that's impossible for us. She smirks slightly, but Henry, we were engaged once. No one knows you better than I do. We're meant to be. Her husky voice carries a hint of obsessive madness. This intensity surpasses that of the past. I smile faintly, my fingers touch her waist. Christina shivers. There's a scar there, one I made. She went abroad for therapy after that. Grandma just thought we had a spat. But she knows we can't happen. 5 years gone, thought she'd be better. Seems crazier now. It's fine. I got a box cutter up my sleeve. I like someone else. I pull back my hand. Her eyes darken. Her hand caresses my face, thumb grazing my lips. Can I kiss you? I frown, turning my head to dodge her touch. She chuckles lowly, getting closer to me. In a flash, the box cutter is at her neck. She doesn't flinch, even moves in closer. The blade pierces her skin, knocks at the door. She acts like she doesn't hear it. Can I kiss you? No. Blood seeps from her neck, staining the white shirt. She neither avoids nor backs off. We stand locked. Suddenly light floods in, door opens. Billy stands by the door holding a wire. He looks calm, gestures. I thought this was the bathroom. I put away the cutter, amused, gesturing. There's one on the first floor. He gives me a look, turns and leaves. Christina returns to her usual gentle demeanor. She uses a scarf to cover the flowing blood, smiles. Sorry. I shake my head. Christina, you always told me to paint something else. Now I'm saying it back to you. Just as I finish, my phone rings. It's Nenah. She's urging me to come home. She and the cat are waiting for me. I chuckle, feeling a rare sense of warmth for home. Shirley follows after I leave. Cautiously asks, can you paint me again? I refuse flatly. She's reluctant. Why? You loved painting me, you did it that day at my place too. He doesn't fancy you anymore. Nenah approaches, holding Jerry. Her tone smug, clearly revenge for what Shirley said before. I'm a bit surprised. When did you get here? Jerry insisted on seeing you, caused a ruckus at home. She says self-righteously, but the cat sleeps peacefully in her arms. Paint me? She suddenly asks. I smile, sure. Shirley stands alone for a long time, eventually realizing she has lost completely. Ever since the painting was burned, anxiety never left her heart. She thought she could fix it, because Henry painted her, only her. Even with Bella, it was to annoy her. But now he paints Nenah, completely different. But this was her doing. He once chose her firmly. Shirley and Billy's wedding got called off. Why do you always take your brother's love? In first grade, You wrote in your diary wanting mom and dad to love you most. You're indeed selfish and scheming. I shouldn't have brought you into this world. I unfeelingly block the unknown number. Don't remember the diary she talked about, but once really wished for a sliver of affection from them. Someone hugs me from behind. I love you. Warmth spreads through me. Jerry jumps into my arms, purrs a bit, then dozes off again. I hand him to Nenah, then pack my painting supplies. I've painted her, and now it's time to paint the world. She sometimes joins me, but often needs to stay at work. Though whenever Jerry acts up, she always comes to be with me. My paintings get richer like a brand new me.